On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched nearly 900 airstrikes against Iran in 12 hours. No declaration of war, no vote in Congress. The supreme leader of Iran was dead by morning. So, why did they do it? Great question. Because depending on which day you asked, and sometimes which hour, you'd get a completely different answer. We tracked every official justification the Trump administration gave for this war. The list has 7 entries. They contradict each other. Some of them contradict themselves. Let's go through them, one by one. Quick context before we dive in. Just 2 days before the bombs dropped, the US and Iran were actively negotiating a nuclear deal in Oman. The Omani mediator said they were close, that a breakthrough was possible. Trump said he was not thrilled with the talks. Then came the strikes. So why, exactly, did the most powerful military in the world choose war over a deal that was nearly done? Here's what we were told. Reason number 1, and the most repeated one, was Iran's nuclear program. Iran was working to build missiles and nuclear weapons that could reach the United States. That was 4 days before the war. Strong words. Clear mission. Except, on April 2nd, 33 days into the conflict, Trump told reporters he does not care about Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium because it's underground. The uranium stockpile is, for context, the core of a nuclear weapons program. The thing the war was supposedly started to stop. He doesn't care about it. Moving on. Secretary of State Rubio told lawmakers before the war that Iran posed an imminent threat, that they were about to attack U.S. forces the moment Israel struck. Iran was about to retaliate against U.S. bases if Israel attacked. Senator Mark Warner, who was briefed by Rubio, said there was no evidence Iran was planning a preemptive strike. Pentagon briefings contradicted the imminent threat claim. So the justification for immediate war, the idea that we had no time to wait, was contradicted by the United States' own intelligence. In January 2026, Iran's government massacred thousands of its own citizens who were protesting in the streets. Trump's response on Truth Social: if Iran kills peaceful protesters, the United States of America will come to their rescue. We are locked and loaded, a humanitarian mission, protecting the Iranian people. Except, on the first day of strikes, a missile hit the Shahzada Tayyibeh Girls' Elementary School in Menab, Iran. At least 165 people were killed, primarily young girls. The U.S. and Israel have not accepted responsibility. Coming to the rescue looked different in practice. Trump and his team repeatedly said the goal was regime change, replacing Iran's government with a democratic one. The supreme leader was killed on day 1. His son was appointed as replacement within 8 days. Trump said regime change has occurred, but added he distrusts Iran's new leader. So the regime changed, but it's still the same regime, now run by the dead supreme leader's son. The goal was achieved, except it wasn't. This is the same war. Defense Secretary Hegseth said Iran was building missiles and drones as a conventional shield for nuclear blackmail. Trump added the goal was to destroy Iran's navy and stop funding of terrorist proxies. Iran has possessed its missile and drone arsenal for several years. Hegseth's framing implied a new, imminent capability. Analysts noted this was a misrepresentation of a long-standing program. The threat was real, but it was not new. The urgency was manufactured. This one didn't come from a press conference. It leaked from inside. Among the internally discussed justifications reported for the war, seizing Iran's oil resources was listed. Among the administration's diverse and inconsistent explanations for the war. Meanwhile, Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's oil supply passes. Global oil prices surged past $100 a barrel. The country that wanted Iran's oil created the conditions that made oil more expensive for everyone. This last one isn't about why the war started. It's about what happened after. Trump declared victory multiple times while the war was still happening. Trump claimed the U.S. had already achieved its objectives in Iran, while in the same speech asking for a few more weeks of warfare and threatening to bring Iran back to the Stone Ages. On April 20th, a reporter asked, "What happens if the ceasefire expires tomorrow?" Trump replied, "Then lots of bombs start going off." Hours later on Truth Social, he said he was under no pressure whatsoever to make a deal. Victory declared. More bombs threatened. No pressure. All in the same week. So, 7 reasons. What does that actually mean? It could mean the administration had too many goals and no clear strategy. It could mean the real reason was never said out loud. It could mean different people in the same government wanted different things, and nobody was in charge of the story. What it can't mean is, all 7 are true at the same time. You can't start a war to stop nukes and then not care about the nukes. You can't start a war to save civilians and bomb a school on day 1. You can't declare victory while threatening more strikes. The analysts at Foreign Policy described Trump's war speech as perhaps the clearest evidence yet that the leader of the world's predominant superpower is an utterly chaotic thinker. That's a foreign policy journal, not a campaign ad, not social media. What happens next in this war? Nobody knows. But how it started, we now have the receipts. If this gave you something to think about or argue about, drop it in the comments. I read them all. The next video in this series covers something even stranger, how 10 people making Lego animations in Tehran might be winning the information war against the U.S. military. I'm not joking. That's next. Subscribe if you want to keep up with how this unfolds, and I'll see you there.